大家好，我是龙学汉. Hello, everyone. I'm Long Shui Han, and today I am going to just describe how I studied my Chinese and how how long I studied my Chinese today. So today, mainly, I studied my Chinese by listening to Chinese music in the background and writing my Chinese diary. So that Chinese diary, Chinese journal is just a journal that I try and write in daily just for the sake of practicing my Chinese, especially my written Chinese. And I just write about my day and what happened during the day, or if not that, I just write about anything. I just write about anything. The whole point is just to write something in that journal every day so I can practice my written Chinese and just my Chinese in general every day, daily. So those are the two main ways I studied my Chinese today. And in total, how long did I study? Um, an hour's worth again, an hour's worth. Putting in them all together, an hour's worth, around an hour, a little less, or just like right at an hour. Um, but I wonder if I should also factor in the behind the scenes studying that I do. What I mean by this is like just in my mind when I try and think in Chinese, when I'm trying to use just Chinese words in my mind as I think about something. If I factored that in, I'd say today it went to an hour and a half, which is actually poor. It's actually poor because I try to think mentally in Chinese as often as I can. So like if I do that, I can I can have that under uh, that subconscious uh, exercising of my Chinese, you know, because that's important too. Because when you have more of that, when you're just subconsciously thinking in the language that you're learning, I feel like this just adds another layer to the fluency that you'll have, because actual fluency actual fluency like the fluency a native speaker has is the fluency where consciously they can speak and understand the language, and also subconsciously whenever involuntarily, right, whenever they're just thinking off the cuff, or they're just automatically trying to express themselves, they they just say something in that language. They just say something in that native language because they don't need time. They don't need to first translate what they want to say in their mind and then say it in their native language. It just it's just off the cuff. It just comes naturally. So I try to not just write in Chinese or speak in Chinese, but I also try to think in Chinese so that I can gain that native level of fluency. Um, that makes a big difference, I think. It really does. Um, so maybe I should factor in to my Chinese learning time whenever I think in Chinese, because if I did that, um, I would I would say that the amount of time I practice or use my Chinese each day would would be a bit larger, would be more, because I try to think in Chinese as often as possible. So if thinking in Chinese is also considered as part of, you know, practicing my Chinese, then yes, um, I did that today. And so I would say roughly an hour and a half's worth of Chinese learning was done today. Am I satisfied with that? Hey, it's a hobby right now, so I guess so. I guess so. As long as it's not 0 minutes, as long as I can say I studied at least something that day, hey, come on. I have to be realistic, you know. I gotta be realistic. So I'm satisfied with that. Um, so I mentioned in the other videos, uh, the daily videos, you know, from yesterday and the day before, yesterday. I said I wanted there to be a big takeaway in each video that I upload, and because I'm making videos every single day. So I want there to be a big takeaway in each video. I want it to mean uh, more for the Chinese learning aspect of it. And so today, the big takeaway is that I need to find some way to improve my Chinese writing ability, because um, you know, how would I put it? Like, it's easier to learn how to say something in Chinese rather than learn how to write it. You know, because if someone told me that in Chinese the way the way you say yes is 是的, uh, then I would just say, oh, okay, 是的. That's how you say yes in Chinese, and they'd be like, yeah, and that's pretty easy to remember. So from then from then on there, and moving forward, I would I would know how to say yes in Chinese, because it's easy to remember how to say that. 是的. But if I was going to learn how to write it and try and learn how to write the character for that word, it'd take a little more time. I'd have to write it out and then write it out again and then write it out again. It wouldn't be as simple as just making some sounds from my mouth. It wouldn't be as simple as just saying a word again and again and again. I would have to do all the work of, you know, writing it out, writing each stroke out until I learn it. And then, you know, you learn it just as well as if you spoke it. But learning how to write Chinese characters, it's more difficult than learning how to say Chinese characters. So what that means is that sometimes when I'm writing in Chinese in my journal, right, I'll know how to say the word that I want to write, but I won't know how to write it. And that's a problem, because I have my Chinese journal for the purpose of writing in Chinese. It's no use if I know how to say the word, but I don't know how to write the word. I can't just speak the word to the journal page and it just appear on the page. It doesn't work that way. So I have to learn how to write the word that I want to use. Even though I may know how to say it, if I don't know how to write the character for it, I can't write it in my journal. I can't use it in its written form. So how am I going to like find a solution for this? Well, I'm going to have to use flashcards, or when I read in Chinese, I have to pay attention to the way that the word is written. And especially if I want to use that word later on, if I think, oh, that's a word that's going to become useful, I'd like to know how to write that word, because I'd like to write that word whenever I want to use it in my journal. During that time, I'm going to take a little time aside to just focus on how that character is written. And of course, by doing this repetitively and practicing again and again and again on how to write that character, eventually knowing how to write it out, as well as knowing how to speak it out, is going to be easy, right? Eventually, I'll be able to write as easily in Chinese as I'm able to easily speak in it. So my writing ability definitely has to catch up to my speaking ability, and it's not doing too bad. I've made a lot of improvements in my written Chinese because literally I can write in full journal pages now, all in Chinese. I used to not be able to do that before, but now I can. So there definitely is improvement in my written Chinese, but there still has to be more improvement. There's more improvement to be had, and I uh, I know it can be done. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to practice on learning how to write more Chinese characters. That's the big takeaway for this video. And I wonder what tomorrow's takeaway will be. You guys can try and guess. You can also leave a comment down below if you're studying Chinese as well. Just say what was the biggest takeaway for you today in your Chinese learning study session. So, 大家, everyone, I will see you in the next video. And tomorrow, actually, I'll also have another video out where I'm just speaking in full Chinese. I'll see you in the next video. Y'all have a great day. 再见. Bye bye.